Okay, just one other quick little video here. These are my irrigation clocks, battery operated. I like them very well. Uh, you got pressure regulators on there to take the pressure down, and they're good for about, what does it say, 20, 25 gallons a minute. Maybe not that much, but it's adequate. And I've been increasing my irrigation as the trees have gotten bigger. Now was a citrus, a navel orange that wasn't, it almost died on me. And it turns out, I think, I wasn't fertilizing it enough. So I added some fertilizer, I put it in the pot and some soil mixture, and now it's just going crazy. I'm so pleased that I was able to bring it back. And now here's my sunflowers. They've been doing well, and I've been eating them. I couldn't believe it, but if you look it up, you can eat this whole plant, the whole thing. I mean, it's fuzzy and maybe not so palatable, but the flower's not too bad. If you eat the green, the back of it, get rid of that. But I guess even that would be edible, and you could cook it long enough. Make maybe blend it. There's different ways you can use it. So I do not lack for greens because of all these. I've gotten into it, and I've got tomatoes here. You can even eat the grape leaves, I guess. And this grapevine's only been in the ground about 1.5 years, and I've already cut it back tremendously. It just every time you look out, it's just another 10 feet in the air almost. So, and it's got some grapes on it already. I hear they don't really get into production for 2 or 3 years after you plant them, but it's sure growing vigorously. Now there's the avocado tree again. And this is a raspberry, which this thing grows real well. It's not very productive so far, but there's a raspberry there, and maybe in 2 or 3 years it'll begin to produce more. It does grow like a hydra. I mean, it just comes up, it sends out roots, and then you'll have it coming up different places. Another tomato. Doesn't get much sun. I don't know if it'll do very well. Persimmons, about 18 months old. And here's how I've increased my irrigation. Used to have one dripper near the root ball. Now that the root ball's bigger, I've got this sprayer that'll wet an area out beyond the drip line, because the feeder roots will probably be concentrated near the drip line of the tree. I mean, that's the way rain comes down, and that's where the roots want to be, where the water accumulates. And now the passion fruit has been extremely vigorous, and I planted it again about 18 months ago, and it grew very vigorously, but I was kind of disappointed. What do I expect? I guess I wanted fruit right away the first year. But now that it's over 1 year old, you can see all the flowers, and it's beginning to put on a lot of fruit. I think it's going to be a heavy fruit producer. At least that's what I'm hoping. And this is another plant that I've had to trim vigorously. Trim it a lot. And I like these little emitters here. You can adjust them to just a little drip or almost completely shut them off to a pretty good sprinkler, probably maybe 2 or 3 foot diameter wetting area. So those have worked out well. And I bought this at Costco. It's a blood orange, and I may regret, I'm going to have probably a lot of shade here eventually, and there was a nice patio here, but I've got enough patio, and I'm sure this will all fill in though with trees, and it'll be very shady in a few years. So then this is a blueberry that wasn't doing too well, and I think it was I think it's an acid-loving plant. So I got some fertilizer, just put it on recently. It's sulfur, I think, sulfur and a few other ingredients, fertilizing ingredients. So we'll see if it doesn't come back. It's just, I think that's the problem with that one. Then here's the watermelon. Unbelievable, that thing's doing really well. And since I increased the water over here, the beets have really started to grow better, more rapidly. I think I was a little stingy with the water. You can see, well, I've got a sprayer in there, and I try to keep the spray and the water in the growing area, not out on the street. Anyway, and this is another Concord grape that's going nuts. I mean, look at this. And the passion fruit vine, this second one wasn't doing too well, but I fertilized it and cut it back, and now it's starting to grow like a monster. And I understand you can eat these flowers too. I've done it. I've eaten them, and they're not bad at all. So there's that. Go over here. Now here's a kiwi vine, and it supposedly doesn't need, kiwis usually need a male and female, but this one supposedly doesn't need that. Again, it's about 18 months old. Here's pineapple guava. Got a little fruit there. And I've really started to do a lot more work than I used to do here. I mean, it really was neglected. I neglected it. But I've gotten into staying on top of it. If you just go out a couple times a week for 10 or 15, 20 minutes and clip away and pull up weeds, it doesn't need, I don't even have a gardener. And that's in memory of my mom. She was a cat person, and my dad liked roadrunners. And this is another citrus. These two citruses, this is that's where I get black out. But anyway, it's a kumquat. What's wrong with me? Anyway, and it's coming back too, owing to more fertilizer. That just made a big difference. More fertilizer and water. Now, and then I've opened up, again, these were just dripping a little bit when they were small, but now I'm shooting the water out to the drip line. See that? All the way out. So they've gotten bigger, they need more water. Same thing with that. And again, that little dripper, I was able to open it up and now get water all the way around the tree. So very pleased. This is a star ruby grapefruit. They were so good when I grew them up there in the mountains. I don't know if they'll be as good where there isn't as much heat, but this thing was full of ants and aphids, and once I cut it back and started fertilizing it, it just came roaring back. And this one, I didn't buy at the same time. It was came in a smaller bucket, and it started out pretty slow, and you can see all this bareness here, but it's now beginning to pop, and it'll fill in very quickly. So I'm pleased with all that. That's a feijoa, pineapple guava. So I'm trying to at least have some fruit here for myself, some greens for myself and for my neighbors. Okay, thank you.